Hey, it's Brandon with another fiction writing tutorial, and today I want to talk to you about breaking the rules. That's right, we're going to get our rebellious streak going, and we're going to break some rules. Fiction writing rules, that is. So let's jump onto the page and get started. This is just a page out of my current work in progress. It's the story itself isn't really important. What I want to show you is how to break certain grammar rules, some certain rules you might have learned in high school about sentence structure and paragraph and syntax and all of those things. We're going to smash those rules for dramatic literary effect. So this is just a page, literally a page out of my current novel, or soon to be novel that I'm going to be publishing in a couple of months. And the story here, just as a quick setting the stage, this is a girl in a kind of a post-apocalyptic world. If you've seen 28 Days Later, it's sort of like that. And infections turn people into savage creatures. And so she is trying to get away from her house because there's a wildfire. She lives in California, where I live, where wildfires are common. And the biters, as she calls them, are starting to attack the car as she flees from her home. So basically, it's chaos. So here we go. She's trying to start the car. Push of the button, ka-chug, ka-chug. So we're going to break some rules here. And we're going to do it right around here just because I don't like two sentences that start with it. So she's in the car, right? And there's all kinds of craziness outside the car. I'm glancing down at the dashboard, hoping some light or indicator will tell me what to do when I see him. It was inevitable. It was just a matter of time before he tracked the noise to its source and found his sister. And here he is at last. I stare through a filthy, ash-covered windshield and straight into the eyes of my little brother. Backstory, her little brother is one of the infected. He's outside the house, and here he is at last. So she's in the car trying to get away. But this is the part I want to focus on where we're going to break some rules, and we're going to do it consciously and knowingly and willingly because we want to achieve a certain rhythm to our writing. And I'm going to remove some redundancy. So this part where it says, it was inevitable. It was just a matter of time before he tracked the noise, etc., etc. I don't like the two it's right there. I want a smoother flow to this. So I'm going to do that by breaking some rules. First, I'm going to put just a really right there and see how that sounds. And then I'm going to get rid of the it was right here. So I just took away the the subject and verb, initial verb of that sentence. Therefore, making it technically, this is an incorrect sentence from English Grammar 101. Just a matter of time. You don't really start a sentence like that if you were going to write a college paper or a high school paper. But we're not writing nonfiction. We're writing fiction. This is creative writing when we can do what we want as long as we know what we're doing. That's the important thing. We have to know what we're doing and we do it consciously with purpose. So let's just read this and see how it sounds better. See if it sounds better. I'm glancing down at the dashboard, hoping some light or indicator will tell me what to do when I see him. It was inevitable, really. Just a matter of time before he tracked the noise to its source and found his sister. I like that better. It gets rid of the redundancy of having it and then another it. And it just has a better flow to it. It's just, these are things you hear in your head. When you read a lot of fiction, you start to kind of hear the rhythm and the poetry of the sentences and the flow. And when you can get that into your writing, it helps readers just kind of like flow along with the story and they don't go over like clunky bits of prose, and choppy sentences or things that stop them. You don't want the reader to stop and be like, what just happened? You want your writing to flow so that the reader can just stay in the story. And so that's what I'm trying to do here. But I did it by breaking a rule with this sentence starting in its new form here. And then down here is another rule that's broken. This is a sentence fragment, or what's left of him, is not really a sentence, technically speaking, grammatically speaking, but this is creative writing. So here, this paragraph that we just revised, and here he is at last. I stare through a filthy, ash-covered windshield and straight into the eyes of my little brother, or what's left of him. So that raises the hair on my arms. I don't know about you, but that sort of thing, what's left of him. And then it goes into a description of what he looks like now, which is, not the little boy that she remembers. So here, just in this one portion, we have two areas where we've broken the rules of grammar. I did it here where we started a sentence with just a matter of time, etc., etc. And then we broke the rules again here, or what's left of him, because that's a sentence fragment, but it's an intentional sentence fragment. I did it for creative effect. So one thing to keep in mind, you can do this and it's effective, and it can, especially if it's something like this, or what's left of him. I made that a sentence or a sentence fragment that's on its own line for a reason, because that's a very important part of this scene and overall a part of the whole story. This thing turns people into something else, something horrible, a horrible new version of their former selves. So I wanted that to be on its own. Just use this kind of thing sparingly. Sometimes I read books where it's just like every paragraph has these like sentence fragments for dramatic effect, and it's like bam, bam, and it starts to hammer your head after a while, and it can be a little much. It can be wearying for the reader. So use them sparingly. If it's a scene or something where you really want to get people's attention, break the rules of grammar, put a sentence on its own line, put a sentence fragment on its own line, do what you want to do. And especially if it makes your prose, makes your writing flow more smoothly, in addition to giving you some extra dramatic punch, then by all means break the rules. Just choose the moments when you do it and don't overdo it. And when you read books that you like, pay attention, look out for this kind of thing, and see if you can spot when writers do this, and maybe ask yourself, why did they do that in this moment? Why did they choose to break the rules, to do these kinds of things for dramatic effect? And you can pick up some tips that way. So that's it. And in closing, along with this theme, I want to end with a quote from the Spanish painter and sculptor Pablo Picasso, who once said, "Learn the rules like a pro so you can break them like an artist." I've always liked that phrase. So you have to learn the rules of grammar. If you want to be a fiction writer and you want to write novels or short stories, you have to learn the rules of punctuation, sentence structure, syntax, how to write concise prose. And then every once in a while you break those rules, but the key is you're breaking them. You don't do it by accident, because if you break the rules of grammar or sentence structure or punctuation accidentally, it's probably going to mark you as an amateur writer. People will look at that and be like, "Oh, that's just a clear mistake." But if you know the rules and you break them intentionally, break them like an artist, it could actually improve your writing. So that's it. If you like this video, you know what to do. Subscribe, all that sort of thing. Click the little thumbs up, whatever makes you happy. And I'm going to be doing a lot more videos like this where we're just actually on the page doing things where you can see it instead of me talking. If you like this kind of thing, subscribe so you don't miss them. And thanks for watching. Happy writing. Now get out there and start working on your story. All right. Talk to you later. Brandon out.